Hey guys, welcome to another Star Wars The Old Republic free-to-play ability guide for the Jedi Guardian Focus Spec. The purpose of these guides is to help you as a free-to-play player to get the most out of your Focus Spec Jedi Guardian with only the 2 quickslot bars you get for free. You can always spend a couple of dollars to get an additional one, and that might be a good idea, but if you want to do it just with the 2 you get for free, here's how you do it. Let's jump right in. So when you first, as a level 1 Jedi Knight, train appear in the world, right? You're gonna have on your quick bar strike, slash, SWtOR form, quick travel, introspection, and force might. So that's like 6 abilities already out of 24, and you might say, wow, I'll never fit everything. But first of all, you're gonna remove some of, like, 3 of them. Take SWtOR form off your quick bar. This is a lightsaber form, which means that it is just always on and it affects the way your character works. But it never needs to be used. Once it's on, and you don't need to worry about it. So make sure it is on and then take it off the bar. You'll never, as a Focus Spec Jedi Guardian, this is the lightsaber form that you use, you'll never have to think about this ever again. If you need to get at it for some reason, you press P. There's a list of all your abilities, whether they're on your bar or not, and you can use it from there. Also take quick travel off. I don't put quick travel on my bar. Many people do not. It's not necessary to have on there. You'll use it at the very most every half hour, probably less often than that. When you need to get at it, you press P, and it's in there. And I can tell you, after you do it a few times, like I can do it in just a few seconds. P, there it is. I use it. Boom. It's not annoying in the slightest to not have on your bar. The one which might be slightly annoying to not have on your bar, but you're going to take off anyways, is Force Might. Force Might is a buff. It increases your stats. It lasts 60 minutes or until you die. If you don't die, this is not annoying at all. Again, every 60 minutes you can just press P when it runs out, and you'll notice it runs out. There's a little icon on your screen that will tell you. You press P, and you access it from there, and you don't have to think about it for another hour. If you die a lot, you're going to have to be pressing P a lot, but hopefully you won't die a lot. I mean, you really shouldn't, right? The whole point of the game is to not die, and this is not a game where you need to die a lot at all, if ever, as long as you're just being smart about things. So, slightly annoying potentially, but ultimately, not a big deal at all. Now, as you move throughout the rest of the game, you're going to be training new abilities, of course. And what I want you to do is train every single one. I know you're going to say, well, they won't all fit, but I'm going to tell you to train every single one, except I'm going to tell you now which ones to take off eventually. Here's what I mean by that. First, train Riposte. You're going to train Riposte at level 5. But eventually, say that your action bars are full. You have 24 bars full, okay? And you need room for a new ability that you just got. Riposte is one, which I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you the rest, which you can take off the bar. At level 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, this might be an ability which is useful, and you might use it. But as a Focus Spec Jedi Guardian, you do not need it at all. It is really only for the Defense Spec Jedi Guardian. There is basically no use whatsoever for you to have it as a Focus Spec Jedi Guardian once you actually start to get your skills. So this can come off as soon as you need room. Other things which can come off as soon as you need room are Guard, Taunt, and Challenging Call. Guard, Taunt, and Challenging Call are tanking abilities. And as a Focus Spec Jedi Guardian, you are not a tank. Even if you were playing as a tank, you would not need these things for leveling. So these can come off. You don't even have to train these necessarily. You might want to, so you have them in case you want to try taking a flashpoint or something at some point, in which case you can put them back on your bar just for that brief, time. But overall, you can take them off. You do not need them. Taunt, Guard, and Challenging Call. Another thing to remove when you need space is Sarisu form, which you're going to get along with guard at level 14. You're using SWtOR form as a Jedi Guardian focus spec. You do not need Sarisu form. You do, again, not even need to train it if you don't want to, unless you want to have the option to tank later on in a pinch. But otherwise, even if you do train it, it is a form. It need not be on your bar at all. Heroic Moment is a skill which you will also take off your bar. This is a skill which gives you some extra survivability in an instance where you have bit off more than you can chew. It is something which is used very, very rarely. It has a 20-minute cooldown, and you only use it in exceedingly rare circumstances where you're in major trouble. Typically, it's used only for when you have a boss fight and you're having trouble with it. People will do the boss fight, and then they'll die. And then they'll try the boss fight again, and then they'll die again. And then they'll think to themselves, if I used my heroic moment at this particular time in the fight, I would be okay. And so that's basically how you'll use it too. Keep it off your bar, and then if you go into a boss fight and you have trouble with it, then you can say, all right, next time I do this fight, I'm going to put this on the bar so I can use it at a certain time. You can swap something off just temporarily. At level 15, you will get Sprint. This is another set it and forget it ability like the forms. You can just make sure it's turned on when you train it at level 15, and then you don't need it anymore. It's always on. If for some reason you need to get at it, press P. It's in the list of your abilities, but otherwise, it does not need to take up a slot at all. Completely unnecessary. And none of these things that you've given up so far change the way you play the class at all. Another one to give up eventually, Cyclone Slash. It is, of all the specs of Jedi Guardian, the focus spec, this is like the least important. This is an AoE attack, but as a focus spec Jedi Guardian, your entire class is about using this other AoE ability, Force Sweep. That's the one you're going to be using. Cyclone Slash is completely unnecessary. You can take it off, no sacrifice whatsoever. Finally, Opportune Strike and Pommel Strike. Don't even train them. These are abilities which are useful only against weak, standard, and strong enemies, so not elite and champion enemies, and the enemies have to be stunned to use them. They're abilities which kind of don't make sense, because you'd want to use them against elites and champions, but you can't, which I never train these things on any of my characters. Every class has a similar one. I never train it. Plenty of other people just don't use them. They're not worth the credits you would spend to train them. You don't need them. So that's that. If you go through, and as you level up, train all the abilities, but remove the ones I've mentioned. Eventually, when you run out of room, you should fit everything on your bar. And you can look specifically for an example of how. You can see all the things laid out at the below the video, the link, the text link. So now I'm just going to take you through a build. I'm going to take you through a focus build, which is designed with the fact that you're a free-to-play player in mind. It's not that different from any build that anybody else would use, free-to-play or not. And it's not necessarily the best build, but it's a very standard focus spec Jedi Guardian build. And it's really good for PvE leveling, which is what you'll be doing, because it's really good area of effect damage, which is what you really want in leveling, because you're just fighting all these hordes of NPC mobs everywhere. So, at level 10, you'll get your first point. Put it into Swelling Winds. Put your second point into Swelling Winds at level 11. At level 12, 13, and 14, you're taking Insight. You're taking Visionary at level 15. At 16, Zephyrian Slash, and so on. After that, put 2 points into Swift Slash. And then at level 20, take Zealous Leap. This is an ability. It goes on to your quick bar, so make sure that it's on there. It's part of your class. As a focus spec Jedi Guardian, you want to have it on there. At level 21, take Saber Strength, 22 Saber Strength. Then move over on to Pulse at 23 and 24. Now here's the meat and potatoes of your spec. At level 25, Felling Blow 1, 2, and 3. And then at level 28 and 29, Singularity 1 and 2. That's what your whole spec is about, these two skills right here. Okay? Really important. They basically cause you to do incredible area of effect damage. And you can read about all these things and how they work, or look at guides for how to play the class. But this is basically how to do the build. Move up now at level 30. Take SWtOR Mastery 1 and then 2. Come over here and take Gravity. Now move down. You get Inner Focus 1 and 2. The reason we go down there is because we need 2 more points to allow us to take these here, but we don't really want this. So take Inner Focus. You are now at level 35, and you will take Focused Resonance. This just increases that area of effect damage. Then 2 points into Through Piece. And then finally, I think it should be Thorough Piece probably. Force Exhaustion at level 40. This is another ability. It's a skill that goes on your quick bar. It's central and necessary to play the class right. Put it on there. Now, we're going to move down to Single Saber Mastery at levels 41, 42, and 43. Improve Sundering Strike, 44 and 45. Perseverance. And moving over here, Dust Storm. Now, Dust Storm is the one major thing I've chosen here because you are free to play. Normally, a lot of times you wouldn't necessarily take this build as a focus spec guardian, but it provides additional defense every time you use your force sweep, which you'll be doing all the time. It makes your enemies' attacks miss more often. And as a free-to-play player, that might be helpful to you because you will hopefully die a little bit less and hopefully spend a little bit less time, rezzing at the med center. So that's basically the gist of it. Again, the links below will give you the actual hard data on this to be able to read it about it and know how to do it. And we have videos for all the other classes and specs as well. So I hope that you can check those out, and I hope that you have fun. Thanks, guys.